Welcome back to Inherited Dawn, a One Piece podcast. We are diving deep into the East Blue chapter by chapter.
Today, we're on chapter 10, What Happened at the Bar.
And what happened at the bar is that Zoro showed up and immediately turned a clown into confetti, just sliced him clean into pieces. What an entrance.
An absolutely stunning final moment. If breaking down how a man can be diced into cubes and live to tell the tale is your kind of thing, you might want to make sure you're subscribed. That way you won't miss it when we inevitably have to explain it next week.
You know it's coming. All right, let's get into it. The chapter kicks off with Buggy celebrating. He's got his Grand Line map back from Luffy, and now he thinks he has Nami on his crew.
The whole crew is partying, drinking, and being generally obnoxious, but Nami isn't really celebrating with them. She's observing. You can see it in Oda's art. Everyone else is loud, boisterous, faces contorted in celebration. Nami is drawn with a quiet intensity. She has a drink in her hand, but it's a prop. Her eyes are scanning the room, calculating.
Yeah, she's got a plan. She's thinking, these guys are all lightweights. She's just gonna wait them out, drink them all under the table, and then rob them blind while they're passed out. That is such a Nami strategy. No fists, just pure cunning. It's not even a question for her. She sees a bunch of loudmouth pirates and immediately knows their weakness, their own lack of discipline.
It speaks to her experience. She knows how to handle pirates because she's been doing it for a long time. This isn't her first rodeo. She's completely in her element, pretending to be one of them while plotting their downfall. There's a certain predatory calm to her. She's like a spider that's wandered into a web full of noisy, clumsy flies. She knows she's smarter than them, and she's just waiting for the right moment to capitalize on their foolishness.
And what foolishness it is. These guys are not exactly the brightest bulbs. They're just so happy to have a new crewmate and a map that they're not paying any attention. They've completely underestimated her, which is exactly what she wants. That's her superpower, right? Getting people to let their guard down.
It's a skill she's honed out of necessity. In a world dominated by brute strength, a character like Nami has to rely on intelligence and misdirection to survive. She can't punch her way out of a problem, so she has to think her way out of it 10 steps ahead of everyone else.
Meanwhile, Luffy, who can hear the whole party from his cage, is just mad he's missing out on the fun and the food. Classic. He's not scared. He's not plotting an escape. He's just hungry and bored. He's literally in a cage, captured by a dangerous pirate crew who wants to kill him, and his primary emotion is FOMO, fear of missing out. That's our captain.
It's such a fundamental aspect of his character. His desires are incredibly simple. Food, friends, fun, and freedom. The cage is restricting his freedom and keeping him from the food and fun. The threat of death is a distant secondary concern to him. It's almost a kind of invincibility, not of the body, but of the spirit. Fear doesn't register with him in the same way it does with normal people.
It completely disarms the situation, doesn't it? Buggy thinks he's won, that he has this fearsome prisoner, but Luffy's not playing the part of the prisoner. He's just a hungry kid yelling about meat. It's impossible to intimidate someone who isn't on the same emotional frequency as you.
Nami comes over to his cage, almost to gloat a little. She teases him about being captured, saying things like, "Looks like you're in a tight spot." She's trying to maintain the facade, to reinforce her position as one of Buggy's crew in front of him.
But she can't keep it up. She sees him starving in there, his stomach literally rumbling loud enough for her to hear, and she just feeds him. She passes food through the bars. Even when she's trying to be ruthless and use him as a pawn, she can't stand to see someone hungry.
It's a small moment, but it's so telling. In the world of One Piece, the act of sharing food is profound. It's an act of connection, of acknowledging another's humanity and needs. We see it time and time again. Zev's philosophy, Sanji's entire character, Otama sharing her tiny bowl of rice. This is the first time we see this theme through Nami. She's trying so hard to be this cold, detached thief, but her fundamental empathy breaks through.
Yeah, she could have just ignored him. Her plan didn't require feeding him. In fact, it might have been better for her if he was weak and quiet, but she couldn't do it. There's a heart in there, even if it's buried under years of pain and distrust. She even tries to play it off, acting like she's just doing it for her own sake, as if she's embarrassed by her own kindness.
It's a defense mechanism. She's performing cruelty to mask her compassion. She tells him to just hang tight, that her plan to steal the treasure will eventually get him out of there. She's not abandoning him. It's a promise wrapped in self-interest, but it's a promise nonetheless.
There's this tiny little seed of an alliance here. She's still using him 100%, but there's a flicker of something else. She's not like them. She's not like Buggy. She sees Luffy not just as a tool, but as a person who needs to eat. That's a huge distinction.
And speaking of Buggy, he appears right behind her, and the whole mood shifts. Oda is a master of this. He can turn the tone of a scene on a dime with a single panel. One moment, we have this quiet, intimate scene of reluctant kindness. The next, the panel is filled with Buggy's menacing grin, looming over Nami.
Instantly, the party stops, the music dies, everyone snaps to attention. Buggy says the celebration isn't complete until they have a public execution. He wants to make an example out of Luffy. It's pure theater. He's not just killing a guy, he's putting on a show for his new recruit.
This is a classic tactic of a tyrant. It's not enough to defeat your enemies. You must make a spectacle of their defeat to enforce loyalty and fear among your followers. He's testing Nami, but he's also reminding his entire crew who's in charge and what the consequences of defiance are.
And to demonstrate his power, he fires off one of his special cannonballs, the Buggy Ball. It doesn't just explode, it completely levels a huge chunk of the town's street. The art here is incredible. It's not just a puff of smoke. You see buildings turn to rubble, a crater in the street. This isn't a gag weapon. It's a weapon of mass destruction on a local scale.
The power on display is no joke. We saw him take out his own guy with a cannon last chapter, which was shocking in its own right, but this is different. That was a targeted act of punishment. This is indiscriminate destruction. He's showing off for Nami, for his crew, for everyone. This is what he's capable of. He's communicating that his power isn't just about his devil fruit. He has serious conventional firepower that can obliterate a city block.
It puts his threat level way up. Before this, he was a weird clown guy. Now, he's a weird clown guy with artillery that can level a city block. That's a much scarier proposition. He's not just a gag villain. He has teeth. Big, explosive teeth.
And he makes then his ambition. He says with his devil fruit powers and his cannons, he's going to conquer the Grand Line and become king of the pirates. It's the same dream as Luffy, but the methodology, the philosophy behind it could not be more different.
You gotta respect the declaration at least. He's not just some small-time East Blue pirate. He has a real goal, and he has the firepower to back it up. That Buggy Ball is terrifying. Luffy's method is to gather friends and win people over. Buggy's method is to blow up anyone who gets in his way. It's the first real clash of pirate ideologies we've seen.
And this is where it gets really dark. To prove her loyalty, to truly become one of his crew, Buggy orders Nami to light the fuse on the cannon pointed directly at Luffy's cage. He hands her the torch. It's not a request, it's a command, and it's a point of no return.
This is the moment of truth. Everything Nami's been doing, all the scheming and pretending, it all comes down to this. Is she willing to kill someone to survive? Her entire plan was based on cunning and theft, a non-violent path. Buggy just threw that path out the window. He's forcing her to become the very thing she hates.
She hesitates immediately. You can see the panic in her eyes. She tries to deflect, to get him to go back to the party, suggesting they drink some more. You can see her mind racing, looking for any way out of this. Killing was never part of her plan. It crosses a line she's built her entire identity around not crossing.
And Luffy, even in the cage, sees it. He's so perceptive. He's not shouting for help. He's not begging. He's watching her. And he tells her she's trembling. He says she doesn't have what it takes to be a pirate. He's not even saying it as an insult. It's just an observation.
Nami fires back, and her voice is filled with all this pent-up rage and grief. She asks him if being a pirate just means killing people like they're insects. For her, this is the definition of pirate she's lived with her whole life. It's not an abstract concept. It's a concrete reality that has caused her immense pain.
And then Luffy delivers one of the most important lines in the entire series, 10 chapters in. He says, no, a pirate's oath isn't about killing. It's about being willing to risk your own life.
That's it. That's the entire philosophy of the Straw Hat Crew right there in a sentence. It's not about domination or cruelty. It's about betting everything on your dream, including your own life. It draws a perfect line between him and someone like Buggy. Buggy's philosophy is to risk other people's lives for his ambition. Luffy's is to risk his own.
It's the same thing Shanks did. He bet his arm on the new generation. He didn't kill the mountain bandit, he risked his own life to save his friend. Luffy learned the most important lesson right from the start, and now he's teaching it to Nami. He's defining his brand of piracy, his kingdom, and the price of admission is courage, not cruelty.
Nami is completely shaken by this. It's like he's just offered her an alternative to a worldview she thought was absolute. She thought all pirates were the same. And here's this boy in a cage, about to die, calmly explaining a code of honor she's never encountered before. She can't do it. She refuses to light the fuse. She throws the torch to the ground.
But one of Buggy's goons doesn't care. He steps up to light it anyway. Nami reacts instantly, smacking him away with her bow staff. The mask is completely off now. The cunning thief is gone, and in her place is someone making a stand. She's not just protecting Luffy, she's protecting her own soul.
And she finally says it out loud. She tells Buggy that no matter what, she will never become a cruel pirate, because pirates killed the most important person in her life.
There it is, the core of her character. Her hatred of pirates isn't just an attitude, it's born from a deep personal tragedy. It explains everything, why she robs them, why she despises them, why she couldn't light that fuse. This one line recontextualizes every single thing she has done up to this point.
It reframes her entire journey. She's not just a greedy thief. She's on a mission. She's fighting a war in her own way against the very concept of piracy that took everything from her. And in that moment of defiance, she chose her own code over survival. She chose the difficult path, the path of risking her own life rather than taking another's. She unknowingly just lived up to Luffy's definition of a real pirate.
But the fuse is still lit. The goon she hit dropped the torch right next to the cannon. While she's having this huge character moment, Luffy is panicking, trying to eat the steel bars of the cage to get out, which is just the most Luffy response imaginable. Never give up, even if the plan is to eat a cage. It's absurd, it's hilarious, and it's so perfectly him. He's not waiting for a savior, he's trying to save himself in the dumbest way possible.
Buggy's crew starts to swarm her. She tries to fight back with her staff, but she's a navigator, not a brawler. They're easily dodging her attacks. Moji and Kabaji are there, and they are clearly more skilled fighters. She's completely outmatched.
She's completely outnumbered. It looks like it's over for her. She's made her stand, and now she's going to pay the price. So she makes a choice. She stops trying to defend herself.
And she runs to the cannon and puts the burning fuse out with her bare hands. The panel shows her wincing in pain, smoke coming from her hand. It's a moment of pure, selfless sacrifice.
She risked her own life to save his, right after he just defined what being a true pirate is. She proved it. She passed his test, even if she didn't know she was taking it. Super. That's the heart of this crew forming right there. It's not about a verbal agreement or a handshake. It's about actions. It's about showing you have the spirit of a straw hat before you even know what that means.
And in the exact moment that she does that she makes that sacrifice, a sword appears.
Zoro, he's here. He blocks a sword that was about to take Nami down. He just shows up out of nowhere, looking completely calm, one sword drawn, and says, "I finally found you." Chills every single time. The timing is just perfect.
The timing is perfect because it's deliberate. Oda is so intentional with these moments. Zoro doesn't just wander in randomly. He arrives precisely when Nami proves she's one of them, in spirit. He isn't saving a damsel in distress who is passively waiting for help. He's coming to the aid of a comrade who has already thrown herself into the fire. It validates her actions.
The relief is huge. You feel it as a reader. The tension just breaks. But of course, it's not over. Buggy sees Zoro and immediately recognizes him. Pirate Hunter Zoro. The name carries weight, even out here in the East Blue.
Buggy asks him if he's here for his bounty, for his head. It's the logical assumption. This is Zoro's reputation. He's the man who hunts pirates for a living.
And Zoro just casually says, "Nah, I'm a pirate now." Like it's no big deal. Zoro's whole fighting style is based on cutting things. That's his entire identity as a swordsman. So what does Oda do? He pits him against a man who can't be cut. It's a perfect matchup to challenge our new swordsman right out of the gate. It's not about power levels, it's a conceptual counter. How do you beat someone whose power directly nullifies yours?
It also teaches a crucial lesson, I think. Don't assume you know the rules of this world. Every new island, every new opponent can and will change what you think is possible. Luffy's immunity to bullets was one thing. This is another level of weird. And right now, Luffy and Nami are learning that lesson firsthand. Their expressions of pure disbelief mirror our own.
What a chapter. It starts with a party, gives us a huge dose of character development for both Nami and Luffy, introduces a core philosophical tenet of the entire series, has a last-minute rescue, and ends on one of the weirdest cliffhangers yet. It's packed. I love it.
The mystery of what's going on with Buggy's body is a great hook. It forces the characters to reconsider everything they thought they knew about combat in this world. I'm really curious to see how Zoro is supposed to fight a man he can't cut. I guess we'll have to see.
All right, prediction time. What's coming in Chapter 11? I'll go first. Obvious one, but I think we're getting the full explanation of his chop-chop powers, or whatever his devil fruit is called. Buggy's pieces are gonna float back together, he'll probably laugh at Zoro, maybe do a little dance with his disembodied hands, and the real fight will begin. This was just the introduction, the opening gag.
I agree with that. For my first one, I think we'll see Zoro get frustrated. This is the first time his swords will be functionally useless against an opponent. He's all about precision and power, and neither matters here. He's going to have to think his way out of this, not just overpower him. I predict he'll try to use the pommels of his swords or just straight up try to punch him, realizing that cutting is not the answer. We'll see the beginning of Zoro the tactician, not just Zoro the swordsman.
Ooh, I like that. A tactical Zoro. For my second prediction, I think Nami is going to be the one who finds a weakness. While Zoro is struggling and Luffy is still stuck in the cage shouting encouragement, she'll be the one observing. She's the planner. She'll notice something about how Buggy's powers work. Maybe his feet have to stay on the ground, or there's a limit to how far his parts can separate. She'll be the strategist who helps the brawler win.
That fits her character perfectly. My second prediction is a little darker. Buggy is going to reassemble himself and then specifically target Nami. He'll mock her for her speech about pirates killing someone she loved, probably saying something vile like, "Want me to show you what a real cruel pirate does?" He seems like the type to twist the knife, to use emotional cruelty as a weapon, and that will be what truly makes Zoro and Luffy furious, turning the fight from a challenge into something personal. It will stop being about Zoro proving his strength and start being about protecting their new friend.
Oh man, that would be super infuriating. And you know Luffy, stuck in that cage, would be absolutely losing his mind if Buggy went after Nami like that. Okay, I can totally see that happening. Well, we'll have to wait until next week to find out.
Join us then as we break down Chapter 11. Until then, keep an eye on the horizon.
And watch out for flying body parts. Thanks for listening to Inherited Dawn.